In 2025, I bought and sold over 1,000 Lego sets, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the top five tips, five, five tips that I learned. So guys, the first tip is going to be to manage your cash flow. Now, the reason for this is because Lego isn't necessarily the most liquid asset. There is a lot that goes into the selling of Lego in terms of speed of sale, packaging, everything like that. It's not like you can quickly just liquidate all your inventory. Therefore, you've got to be very careful that you don't get trapped in a situation where you've overspent on your Lego investments, you're desperate for cash, and you need to sell your investments quickly, which usually results in a loss or not as much profit as you could get if you held on to them for longer. How do you avoid this? Well, firstly, it's important to budget and plan your spending, because sometimes you'll have insane deals drop. Like, for example, last year on Amazon Spain, a deal dropped in around September time, which had loads of sets, half price essentially. I'll pop up some pictures right here of the sets I was getting and what prices. Now, during that time, I had to go very deep. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to go very deep on investing. So I spent a lot of my cash. And the problem with that is when it got to the next month, October, I barely had any cash left to spend on the deals that came out in October. So I definitely mismanaged my cash there. Another thing that can help with cash flow is planning when you're going to actually sell sets, because this will give you an injection of cash back into your business and allow you to keep buying. Now, this moves on to my next tip, which is have an exit strategy. So, this means that when you are buying sets, you need a plan of when and how you are going to sell them. Now, the most common selling channels for Lego are eBay, Vinted, Amazon, and also in person events such as Brickfests. You need a plan of where you're going to sell your sets, because if you don't have it, it's very easy to get stuck with a ton of stock and you will be unable to get the cash out and reinvest it to grow the portfolio of Lego that you have. So when you're buying a set for investment, you've got to think, how am I going to ship this? If it's a big set like a UCS set, you've got to figure out how you're going to ship it. Uh, have I got like the right size boxes for this? How, if I'm buying 20 small sets, that's going to take ages to sell. All these things you've got to think of when you are buying your Lego, and think about how are you going to exit your position in these sets. Are you going to try do it all at once, because it's very hard to sell 20 sets all at once? Or if you're only buying one or two of the set, it's more easy to list them on eBay, for example, and sell them quicker. But larger positions in particular SKUs, like for example a set that you have 20 of, as I've mentioned, that's going to take a few months to fully exit, especially if it's a set that doesn't sell too well online. My next tip is have an appropriate area for storage. Now, unlike other asset classes like stocks and bonds, Lego requires a big storage space, especially if you are buying a lot of sets like you can see around me. It does take up a lot of space to store, and you've got to be able to do this effectively, otherwise you will run out of room and it will interfere with your day-to-day life, because you'll just have Lego all over your house, which for some people that might be really good, but you know, if you're living with other people or a wife and kids, then that might not be the best idea and it could cause some chaos. So have an appropriate area for storage. Whether you're gonna look at buying a storage unit, you've got to figure out how much is that going to cost me, how is that going to affect my profits, or if you've got a spare room in your house, how much Lego could I realistically fit in here? You know, for me right now, I mean, I'm pretty much at the brim of what I can fit without like causing some real chaos in my room, because my shelves are basically full and there isn't really any more room to put shelving units. So, you know, it is something that you've got to be actively managing, especially when you're buying sets and making big orders, and you've got to think of an appropriate place to store stuff. Another tip, guys, is please, please, please use the retirement list when you're making your investment decisions. I'm going to put a link in the description of the retirement list I use, but please be aware that this list does consistently change throughout the year, and it's that you could see drastic changes from now, we're in February right now, until December of this year when the sets do retire. Normally, I don't usually use it until around halfway through the year, because at that point it's kind of like 90% guaranteed, with only 10% of the stuff being added or taken off, so it's much more reliable at that point. But the benefit of using the retirement list to make your investment decisions is that you reduce the risk of holding onto your set for too long. For example, if I buy a set this year that's not retiring until 2027, I'm gonna have to hold that set for an extra year, whereas my money could have been better placed in a set that was retiring in 2026. It's all about how quickly you can turn over the sets to make a profit, and then eventually scale and grow your portfolio naturally over time. Next, guys, now this is my favorite tip because it's the one that I personally need to consider the most in this coming year of Lego investing, and that is investing based off emotions. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I always just say like, oh, I'm just investing or buying this set because I think it's cool, and that's a good approach in on some occasions, but a lot of the time it can lead to some poor investing decisions. If you look around in the shelves, you won't see too much like Lego Friends, for example. I haven't done too much research into it as a theme, but let's just pretend that it's a great theme for investing. I won't even know about that because all I buy is like Star Wars, Ninjago, like stuff that I think is cool, Speed Champions. If I mean, I look at a set that comes out and I just think, yeah, I just want to have those for investing because I think they're cool, and that's not the right way to do things. The benefit of it is that it means because you actually like the set, if it doesn't work out and the investment doesn't go up, you can just build one yourself, which is really cool. That's a good. We spoke about exit strategies. It's a good backup plan to have. Thinking like, oh, if this set doesn't go up too much in price, I'll just build it. But it does mean that you miss out on a lot of investment opportunities because you're coming at it from an emotional perspective. So a set might um, be really heavily on discount and could offer a really good ROI, and historically the theme could have done really well, but I just won't touch it because I don't think it's cool. So this year I'm trying to be a lot more open to the type of stock that I buy and the type of sets that I invest in, and I'm going to be looking at a broader range of themes so that I can give myself the best opportunity of making the highest ROI. Because in recent years I've been, I would say, punished in some sense because of how much I've focused on Star Wars and stuff, and it just hasn't performed in the same way that it used to. So it's definitely important for me personally, and I would advise you guys to keep an open mind with the sets that you're investing in. If the numbers don't lie, then go for it. You know, even if it is something that you wouldn't normally pick up, the numbers are numbers. You know, profit is profit. So I mean, let me see if I can find an example of sets. This is a good one actually. So this is Jedi Bob Starfighter, which is such a cool set. Jedi Bob mini figure, and then the Akbar Trooper. Oh, that's actually so hard to say, but yeah, he's in a Stormtrooper outfit in this set, and it was a really cool set. And when it released, I was like, yeah, I want to get loads of these, and I did. I got like 8, but I've had them for a year already, and they're constantly on sale at half price, and yeah, it just looks like I'm gonna be stuck with them for ages by the looks of it. because I think it's still, they might be retiring end of this year, but it's just basically a long hold, all because I invested with my emotions, not the numbers. That has been my top 5 tips for Lego investing in 2026. If you would like to see more content like this, more sit down talking about Lego investing content, then drop a like and comment and also subscribe, and let me know what you guys would like to see in the future. But for now, guys, I'm out.